Today's program is brought to you by Vagabond Creative Studio and KLO LLC. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We are your hosts. I'm Tina Prigge of Vagabond Creative Studio, and this is Kristin Odell of KLO LLC. Kristin, how's it going?
It's really supposed to be this way. If you ever switched our sides, we would never get it right.
Yeah, we should never switch. Oh, Kristin, are you frozen?
Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm back. Now you're back. Where did you go? Oh, there we go.
Wait, there you are.
There you are.
I have no idea what this experience is like currently for our viewers, but I hope it's okay because I'm here and Kristin is here and we've got coffee, and thank you so much for joining us. The Sweet Life. Jason just got me this mug. He treated me to this mug. It says The Sweet Life.
Oh, I love it. What do you see, Tina, when you look at those little dots on the bottom? What do they represent in your world?
Like a Rorschach. I think that they're actually macarons, like those little like French cookies.
Yes, I see. I was trying to decide it. My first instinct was, is that something nautical?
Yeah, like
and then my next thing went to like, so I swam in high school, so you know the lane markers?
Yes, yes.
So then I went to lane markers, but I like cookies are way better.
Mostly I liked the message, The Sweet Life. And it just seemed to me like it was like stacking up like all the sweet things, whatever they might be.
Yes, I love it.
And I thought it was perfect for this show because having a conversation with you each week and with our viewers, it is the sweet life, right?
It totally is. We always have so much fun and the time goes so fast. So yes, I feel honored and blessed to get to do this every Tuesday morning. Yay. And this Tuesday morning, I'm especially thankful for my hot cup of coffee because for those of you that are not here in Manitowoc, it is like a winter wonderland today.
And we have the pictures to prove it. I'm going to bring up this picture, Kristin. Let's talk about only in Wisconsin.
Only in Wisconsin. So friends, I sent this to Tina. This was, truth be told, Sunday morning, not this morning, but this is my darling husband, Doug, who I love dearly. Snow blowing on Sunday. And of course, like, why wouldn't you snow blow in shorts and Crocs with no socks? I mean, I guess that's what everybody does, right? I was getting ready to leave for church and I walked out there and I giggled to myself because, I mean, I guess he looks silly, but I was like, yep, he's mine. And he's so cute out there with his shorts on. So,
well, what breaks my mind is that he's okay with it. Like, he chose to not have socks or boots or pants, right? And the thing is, he's not suffering. He's completely okay. And the thing is, Teak is, I think, furry, kind of like Doug, right? Like, he goes out in the winter in the same way. Like, this picture on the left with just the close-up of the legs and the Crocs, that absolutely could be Teak. Yesterday, I took him out. He wouldn't even wear a jacket or a sweatshirt. So I was just like,
right. Yeah, Doug always jokes that he has a sweater underneath his sweater. Like, he's so furry and hairy. And yeah, that was Sunday morning. He threw his little jacket on and his hat and he said, I'm going to go clear the driveway. And I was like, all right, you go do it. Thank you for the laugh this morning, my love.
And truth be told, seeing somebody having that experience and embracing it and enjoying it has really actually helped me appreciate winter because typically I am cold. And so like when I go out, I've got the scarf and I've got multiple layers and the hat and like maybe you see this much of me. And, you know, once upon a time, I would have been kind of prone to grumble about winter. But now I realize it's not like it's a bad thing. It's really just how you appreciate it, I guess.
Absolutely. When it snows like this today, I so badly want to like go hiking or go snowshoeing because there is this like insulation that happens, especially in like Silver Creek Park comes to mind. There's like the little grove where the playground is where it's all tree covered and it's so quiet when there's fresh snow. And there's something like beautiful about that. And, you know,
and to know that it only takes the right conditions for it to happen, that if it's snowing here doesn't mean that it's snowing in every corner of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I love it. Like today I said to Doug, I don't really have anything on I have things on my calendar today, but like there's nothing major that I will be impacted by the snow. So I'm going to just sit back and appreciate it and watch it fall and, you know, just be thankful.
Good morning, Jeff Tess. Thank you so much for that good morning message.
Good morning, Jeff.
Another thing, Kristin, is school, right? I saw this meme and it just has tickled me time and time again. So my student is on the bottom, right? He's the high school student. And when I check in with him at school sometimes and he doesn't have his camera on, I've been concerned, like, are you sure? Like, doesn't your teacher want you to have your camera on? Are you sure your camera should be on? But then I saw that it's actually a meme that my kid isn't the only one that's doing that as he's at school. So if we break this meme down, the reason it tickles me, like if you look, the elementary school experience is completely different from the high school experience. So like the elementary experience, it's like all over the place. Like look at the kids, some are close up, some, my chair fell over, here's my room, am I on mute? Right. One girl's just saying bananas. Bananas is the perfect word to kind of describe that scenario. But then the teacher on the bottom, look at all the high school students have their cameras turned off. And she's like, can anyone say good morning?
Right. Are you there? Is anybody actually with me?
So respect to the teachers for figuring out and adapting to, dealing with teaching in this platform, because I don't know. I mean, Kristin, you were saying if you were giving a presentation and everyone had their cameras turned off, how like unsettling or kind of off-putting that would be.
Right. I mean, I'm a virtual instructor, and so I don't know what it would be like to not at least be able to see their faces on the screen. Like you literally it would feel like you're talking to yourself, or like you're in, like if I do facilitator prep, I might be standing in my office saying these things out loud to myself to prepare saying the words. And that would literally be the same experience. There's nobody, you have no idea how the content is landing. You have no idea if, people have questions, I guess, unless they use chat box. Like it would be a bizarre feeling to not know what's happening on the other side, or to really know if they're with you.
Right. How do you gauge any of the feedback?
Right.
So going back to snow for a quick second, Jeff Tez says he loves to swing in the snow.
Of course you do, Jeff.
And Chris said it is a good sledding day.
Chris, I'm sending the kids over to your house.
Does Chris have a hill?
She does have a hill.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, she has a hill. Yeah, it is a good sledding day. Maybe I'll have to get that in somehow today.
Are your girls brave enough? Do they do the hill at Silver Creek Park?
Yes. The only issue we have, Nora especially is littler, is like she has a hard time making the trek back up the hill. Like they're so big that she'll go like twice and then she's done. So the last time, we've been sledding a couple different places. The last time we went sledding, we went to Lincoln, because then you can walk up the steps. Unless they're like super snow covered, you usually can walk up the steps in the middle. So the little ones can like hold on the railing, and it's a little bit easier, but
it is. So Kristin, these last few weeks, we have been talking about our resolutions and making goals and keeping those goals, having accountability for those goals. Anyway, we've been talking about it from our perspective, but you thought that it might be a good idea to bring, a real creative oriented thinker on the show. And so we've arranged that. And if you don't mind,
let's do it.
Jason Prigge, welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. And you're muted.
You're muted.
All right, can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. The virtual thing is real. Like, sometimes it's just the basic, like tech is what I do for a living, part of it. And the basic thing is like unmute your mic. That is the saying of 2020, by the way. That's like the phrase that can totally describe our past year. So,
right.
Anyway, good morning.
Do Mike TV. Do your impersonation of Mike TV. Okay. Am I coming in clear?
Oh, yeah, I can't. I'm not. It's too early in the morning for impersonations. Do your impersonation of Bernie Sanders.
Let's see it. Do you have your mittens?
I do not have my mittens on me today. No, I don't know. I'm working. It's a work in progress.
That sounded Ukrainian.
My Bernie Sanders is Ukrainian. And I don't know why I've got to have this hand that goes up and down.
So Jason, just, bring it around. One of the reasons I wanted you to come on is because you are what I consider to be a creative mind, and maybe doesn't flourish under structure or schedules like I do. And I have enough self-awareness to know not everybody is like me or Tina. And so I just wanted for our viewers who have been following along with goals and maybe thinking like, these are all really great ideas, but I can't, this is too restricting. We wanted to get your input on like, what recommendations do you have for somebody who is ultra creative?
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, I have to see things. I'm a very visual person. So if I write it down in a book and then I put, like Tina has this book. She has got a couple books like for clients and stuff. When we're in a meeting, she will take detailed notes about the meeting. And I love that about her. She's great. I draw pictures on my thing. When I was just waiting to come on, I was drawing pictures. I just started doodle. But I have to see things, right? So they have to be visually in my field of view because I'm such a visual person. I have been procrastinating for years. I still procrastinate like crazy. I'm all over the place. What was that, Tina?
He's a professional procrastinator.
Oh, I have a plaque on my wall that says that. It's awesome. But anyway, I've been, since I'm such a visual person, and like when I was in the 3rd grade, my dad got a call from my teacher because I was drawing on the desk. I wasn't paying attention to class because I wasn't, paying it. They thought I wasn't paying attention to her. So I drew on my desk with my pencil. And back then, you remember those desks were smooth. And she would get so mad at me. And every day with the spray bottle, and wipe it off. And she told my dad. And my dad said, why don't you just put like craft paper down? And so he encouraged me to keep going because I wasn't missing the stuff. I was hearing it, but I was also drawing scenarios. Like if it was history, I was drawing something. Mm-hmm. So anyway, fast forward, I'm an adult now. I've got a business and all this other stuff. I take notes still like that. And took a picture just a few minutes ago. Tina, if you want to, there. This is what I see. So my desk is off there to the right. And I write stuff down on Post-it notes and on my whiteboard right in the office. And if I don't see something, you can take that down now. If I don't see something, it doesn't exist. It's like one of those things. So I've been doing that. And every time I get a task done, one of the pleasures, and this was on the top part of the garbage, so don't worry. One of the pleasures is taking one of those Post-it notes and throwing it in the trash.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel good. I just did something, I got it done. And so I picked out a few, and it's funny because I find like these drawings and stuff, but business notes and like, oh, I'm done with that thing. I get to throw it in the trash. And so I keep like these Post-it notes around. They're all over the place. And my wife just bought me some new markers and some fun things. So I make it fun, right? And that's how I kind of do things. If I need to reach a goal, I'll put it on a Post-it note and I'll throw it up there. I need to do this by this date, boop. And then I constantly see that every day, and it serves as a reminder. Kind of like when we look in the mirror and we're reminded who we are. Mm-hmm. I'm reminded what I have to do every time I walk into my office. And I've just kind of given up almost any other kind of method because I've tried them all. They don't work for me. This has worked the best. And I have to give you credit, Kristin, because when we met and we were going through some things with me, just on a personal level, you're like, why don't you use a big Post-it note and draw it on the wall? And so I did, and it worked. So that's a credit to you.
That's good, because I'm not normally that creative. Maybe your creativity was spewing into me, and then I was able to give it back to you. Who knows?
Did you ever see that meme where there's a worker and there are Post-it notes all over the wall, multi-levels deep, their computer screen, their chair themselves is all. That's how I imagine I'm going to find Jason one day when I walk into the office.
Well, I can't stand it, right? I can't stand it. This is the trick too. So Tina knows this, like my decorating style is very minimal. I prefer like Asian modern, like super minimal. So when I see all of this crap all over the place, I want to get it off the wall. Mm-hmm. I want it to leave the wall. So, I'm like constantly, okay, what can I rip off there? What's the biggest note? The biggest note is the most important note. Okay. So I got to work on that one. And then I go down to the smallest one. And hopefully by the end of the week or whatever, I got my wall constantly cleared, but we've been busy. So it's constantly a mess. But
so it's interesting because last week, Kristin, we were talking about having a carrot, right? Like some incentive to achieve your little goals. And I like what Jason's describing because the carrot is built in. The carrot is that satisfaction of being able to take that Post-it note away and being able to like have the space be clean and clear again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that like the dopamine rush you get? Like, isn't that the best form of it, is like accomplishing your goal and being able to crush that paper up and celebrate that?
Yeah, I created my own cheese, my own mouse cheese, so that when I go through the maze every day of daily life, I can have a piece of cheese. And if you don't give yourself little rewards, and like the crumpling up of the thing is fine, but when we're done with a big project, we like to treat ourselves. Like, I'm going to buy my wife a new coffee mug, or we're going to do something fun, just kind of like Tina and I, that was a result of us just like saying, we're going to go out and we're going to go to TJ Maxx. Or we're going to just take a drive and see what's going on around town. Just kind of little treats along the way. I love that.
Right.
What's interesting too, Kristin, Jason was talking about the paper on the desk and how while he was in school drawing, he actually was listening. And that goes back to that conversation we were having last week, sort of about the Zen practice, right? Like about knitting or crocheting to free your mind, or doing something so that your mind is still at work, but your hands are kept busy. It's like that was the early version of that.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt. So Grace, my oldest, is a doodler as well. And Jason knows this about her. And I just try to remind myself as a parent, especially one that is teaching her right now, like I need to give her space to do that. And as long as she can answer my questions at the end of it, I don't care what it took for her to get to that point. And so I think that is been a really big learning experience for me, watching my kids have education at home, is to say, I would advocate for her much more going forward to be able to do those kinds of things. If it's, I wouldn't say that it's allowed or not allowed, but just for her to have that experience of being able to doodle and take things in.
That could be the most important philosophy about education to come out of this whole experience going forward. I really hope that all of these lessons that parents at home have learned, and perhaps even teachers, can actually be applied going forward. That, students all have different learning methods, and that's really an important one, right? You can't expect eyeballs up on the screen all the time, because sometimes, even for me, if I'm forced to look like this and I can't take a note or something, I almost turn off. So now it looks like I'm totally engaged, but I'm not at all, because I can't look down and put my pen to paper.
Yeah. I used to, one of the things I used to do is take notes on my phone. And I realized that when I took notes on my phone, it did not stick in my brain. I didn't retain it. And when I started taking notes in a journal about the same topics, it started sticking with me. And literally same notes. It was just the difference between holding a pen and that practice of writing it versus typing it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're interesting creatures, aren't we? And we all have unique ways. So when I was young and in high school and stuff, they labeled me, as a troubled kid, because I would not pay attention in class. I was failing out of a lot of classes. But my art teacher knew that I was not dumb. She knew that I was an intelligent young man. So she got me into a couple of classes that were advanced college classes. And in those classes, I aced them all. And because the reason I aced them is because the teacher was willing to work with me. I'm an orator by nature. I love to speak, not only to myself, but in front of people. So I was able to give my reports orally, and be able to do that. To be able to do that was such a gift for me from that teacher. I was able to intake all the material, do whatever, but when it came time to giving a report, I would get up in front of class and give a report. I would have notes, but I would mostly do it extemporary because it was all in my brain. I just didn't know how to get it out in a written form, but I could speak it. And so we all have different ways of ingesting and, whatever it is, or what just happened?
What happened?
God, what was that? Are you okay? Are you okay in there? Hello.
It was a Japanese beetle in my office. I don't know. Sorry.
January.
I realized
January. Wow.
I realized it was a bit dramatic, but
that was awesome. I couldn't recreate that.
That was great. I didn't know what it was.
my point is just, we all have different ways of learning, and it's good to have teachers that recognize it. That's a sign of a really good teacher that can, okay, this student I may have to do something different with. And that's hard because we like standardized testing. We like standards in schooling. We like to measure things and, whatever. But even big tech firms and other places, they're not requiring college degrees anymore. And the reason is because a creative mind is not necessarily college bound. An engineering mind is not necessarily college bound. Those things can be learned and especially taught on the job. So anyway, that's my philosophy. I'm sticking with it.
What's interesting about that experience, Jason, is that for you, your comfort zone was the public speaking. Your comfort zone was the sharing of the knowledge that you had in a way that for some others, there's plenty of people that don't like the public speaking aspect, that can do great, pen to paper, but to have to stand up and share that idea in front of other people, that's like the terror zone. So it's really interesting that you had that aspect accomplished and really, you're able to take knowledge that you have and share it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, it's just the way I am. It's the way I'm built.
Jason, do you think you procrastinate less by having the Post-it notes on the wall?
Good question.
Yes. Oh, way less. Way less, because it's an annoyance almost. It's something like when I was decorating, we just moved in this new office. I'm decorating my office. You see behind me, I've got all this wonderful stuff from our travels to Japan and some paintings and stuff. That's what you see. What I see is this wall of messed up Post-it notes, and I can't procrastinate because this is business. Yep. You know what I mean? I got to get at these things. This is business. This is money on the wall, and I need to get that money off the wall and into my bank account. I mean, quite frankly, that's what it is. Right. We're all working, right? And if I see it, I'll remember it more. If I see it, it becomes an annoyance that I want to get rid of, and it turns into something tangible. This paper is how I'm paying for Teek's, driver's ed lessons. This paper is how, I'm able to buy my wife a coffee mug, and I can actually, metaphysically work magic by taking this paper and turning it into money.
Yeah. I love that. So that's one of the things we also talked about last week is like, what are the positive consequences of completing something, and what are the negative consequences if I don't complete it? And so you just really highlighted, like, those are all wonderful positive things of being able to take this specific work goal and like translate to how does this positively affect my life if I accomplish it? So you articulated my point so beautifully. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Well, and also, Kristin, you were guiding us these past couple of weeks of how to stay accountable, how to keep our goals in front of us, how to process what those goals are and keep marching towards achieving them. And one of the things you told us was to write them down and then to write them down in order. Yep. And I mean, I did it, but I was kind of skeptical. Like, of course I can remember what my goals are, right? But this morning before the show, I was looking at what I had written down and I was like, oh, I wrote that down as a goal. Like I had completely forgotten some of the things that I put on the paper. Like the top 3 were of course still in my mind, but because I had written down like 10 different things, I had sort of forgotten that those things were supposed to even be on the top of my mind. I was like, Kristin is a genius. Absolutely have guided us true and right, to have it written down and to have it organized.
Right. So the last phase of this is like the 4th week we've been talking about. This is where we kind of come to that accountability piece. So I think you have the definition of accountability here, one definition. So according to Webster, accountability is the quality or state of being accountable, an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions. Accountability doesn't mean punishment. Accountability is a willingness to accept responsibility for our own actions. And I think when we think about accountability as like punishment, it's a joy to be able to have responsibility for something. And I think sometimes that gets lost in our society today. Having that personal accountability, willpower to see something through, there's something about that testament that doesn't exist in everybody. So yes, it's a joy and it's a beautiful thing to be able to say, I'm going to take full responsibility for this and I'm going to see it through. So yes, do you have my Lionel Richie? Hello, are you the accountability partner I've been looking for? So as we think about accountability, one of the ways that people hold themselves accountable is to communicate their goals to other people who will either collaborate with them on that goal or hold them accountable. So that may be your spouse. It could be colleagues at work. It could be a friend. Like Patty Roth asked me if I went to yoga on Thursday night. So just to give you an idea, I didn't even ask her to be my accountability partner. She's just doing it all by herself because she's so awesome. Yeah, for some people like Jason, accountability is like putting them on the wall in your workspace or on the front of your refrigerator. So there is this visual reminder of, oh, that is still in front of me, isn't it? So I'm challenging you. This is the last phase. It's really like, how am I going to be accountable? How am I going to take those things that I wrote down on paper and start translating them to things that are actually going to happen? So find your person, find your way, whatever it's going to be. Ooh, Tina, you moved yourself to the middle.
I had to sneeze. Sorry.
Shuffling around.
You're not allowed to sneeze on camera.
You know, it's really interesting that you say that, Kristin, because my accountability partner obviously is Tina. And I'm accountable to her for a lot of things, like our son, and we're in business. You know what I mean? We're like actual business partners and work together. So one of my goals is to make her happy just in life. I signed up for that, you know, when I married her. And I also signed up for it when I proposed this business. And I think that being accountable to someone you love makes it even more special. Because, you know, I don't want to disappoint Tina. You know, you don't want to see Tina when she's angry, boy, let me tell you. I'm just kidding. I don't want to disappoint my son either. You know, my son is he's 15. He is looking to me to show him manly things, to show him the things that he needs to do to take care of things. And, you know, it's that old tired paradigm, but it was the paradigm I'm raising. A man takes care of his home. And, you know, Tina and Teek need to see me doing that. So they're both my accountability partners. And because I love them, it is actually a happy chore.
Right. It's a joy. No, I love that. So Jason, you guys have this in common. Even though Doug is not my business partner, he is my business mentor and my accountability partner for my business. And we talked just a couple of weeks ago, we sat down again and talked about kind of how 2020 wrapped up and what was good about 2020, right? We learned a lot about my business in 2020. I had a pretty darn good year, all things considered. And we sat down and had dinner together and celebrated that, you know, we made it to January. Praise Jesus, we made it to January 2020, right? So, yeah, it is important. So find your person or find your process or your path. Post those goals up around, make people ask you about them. So one of the things we used to do is we used to write our family goals on our chalkboards in our playroom. And so when friends or family would come over, they would be like, ooh, tell me about that. Or why do you guys have that goal? Again, makes people ask you about it and it makes you accountable to like, oh, dang, now another person knows about it. I better get to it. So.
Right. And so the more that you acknowledge it and admit to it, the more real it also becomes, right? Every time you say, yes, that is my goal, it solidifies another little chunk. It's kind of like the Tetris blocks coming down the screen, right? Falling into place.
Right. Absolutely. So Jason, thank you for kind of sharing your creative insight. You're the yang to my yang of structure.
Well, thank you. And it's just a plug for you too. I mean, this is not why I came on to plug Kristin, but the Kristin's guidance helped me with this. Tina's guidance helps me with this. I mean, and there's not one solution. There are many solutions that you can pick and choose from, whatever works for you. It's not a one size fits all, like you have to keep a journal. No, that works for Kristin. That doesn't work for me.
Right.
This works for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's important when I coach clients on things like achieving their goals and accountability, I have to be flexible enough to allow them to find the path that's going to work best for them. So I always would encourage somebody, you know, that answer didn't just come out, Jason, when we were talking, right? It took time for it to get to that. And, you know, Tina, you and I have a lot more in common with goals and written and things are on the schedule and we prepare it. And so, you know, it's learning how everybody is different and learning what is going to make them most successful. So a big fat coffee cheers to 2021 goals and resolutions. Cheers.
My Star Trek guys have beamed over to the other side, which means that my coffee is cold. So I have to go get a new cup of coffee because they're all Captain Kirk is on this side now. He's not on the planet where he needs to be.
So much for joining us this morning. This was really fun. It was really awesome to get your perspective. We totally appreciate it. Kristin, thanks for continuing to guide us through this process. Also, you should know that Chris will be waiting for her fellow slutters.
I wonder if Chris is serving hot chocolate today.
We appreciate everybody that has.
We might need that mug to make sure that it's staying hot.
And we will definitely look forward to next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Take care.